find her. And I will. You better tremble and pray. Because you will never see me coming.
That's the thing. Tayo wasn't there.
Right?
Just with me and Altin.
The scene
In the mirror.
The one with the mirror and the gun. In the script
scene.
is written, Michael confronts his alter ego. It's just one line in the script. And I thought, majority of time with this type of scenes, filmmakers, they leave it to imagination. They never really show what is happening when you have a character going from one sort of schizophrenic face into the other. And I thought, I want to do the whole thing. And it was only me and Altin. I said to him, take the camera, let's go. We came, we prepped the lighting a little bit, and that was it. It was just him and me, and we were just, I was sort of improvising, right? And he was just going and, you know,
go.
and go. And it was a special moment.
I
You know?
remember because
Absolutely,
the crew was, well, not a lot of the crew, but because it was late in the evening.
Yeah.
But I was there, and I don't know if Tom was there, and maybe Tayo, and you two went in the room and to film, and I don't know what you were doing, and then you came back. No, that's not what I mean. But I didn't know
Ex-ballet dancers, right? Those stories.
But you guys came back, and they were so hyped up, pumped. They were like they took drugs. They came and they were like, "Where are the bananas? Where are the bananas? We need bananas. We are so hungry." And I thought, what the hell did they do? You guys were like you were on adrenaline, but you looked like you were on drugs.
But for you, because you didn't have a lot of experience. I mean, you had just shifted towards video.
That was my first thing. And
You
my
actually
last
made
thing.
a music video for me. You made a music video for me for your graduation.
Yes, but in the
Yeah.
feature
Yeah.
film area.
But did you
this
feel
was
some
the
sort of
first
pressure,
and
like,
last.
oh, I've never done this before, I'm
Well,
gonna pull this off?
Of course, but it was also that exciting thing that it was a bit unknown, you know, and then that's where I went blind to it, but I trust this guy here because I knew him when he was a dancer. He was also creating choreography. He was doing choreography in certain workshops and so on, and the way that what I noticed in him, that he would just do deep stuff, personal stuff, you know, things that were not easy and easy to see. So that intrigued me also for the film. So it's like, okay, let's go there. It's blind. I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just do it. You know, and that's how we got into it, and it was.
And I remember you were in Italy still. Do you remember?
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
in Italy, and I had to.
So it was
because
trying to convince me.
Yeah, come on, man,
we
come
can
on,
do
just
that.
come and do it. And you know, I remember we did like, because altogether it was like 15 days, I think. But there was we shot a couple of days, and then you had to go to Italy for whatever.
Yeah.
And then I had to be convincing you, come
Yeah,
and
come
finish
back,
the
come
shit,
back,
come
we need to do
on,
another day
do
or
it,
two.
do it. And then you came back, and we sort of finished it. But it was, like I always say, 11 is a poster film for independent filmmaking. You know, that's why I don't like to hear people saying that, oh, we couldn't make the film. Look, could it be better? Of course it can be better. If I would be making this film right now, I would cut off 60% of dialogue, right? We would put more things visual and things like that. But films like that, it is also like a learning process of making film. I mean, this was the first film that we ever made. For Altin was the first film that he DP'd as a feature film, for instance. You know, for Jennifer, first proper acting job. For me, it was the first movie that I directed, right? So everybody had these first things, and we did not have on our mind bad experiences from the past necessarily that discouraged us. We went there with passion and with an open heart, and the people that actually joined the crew, we were lucky enough that they kind of maintained themselves. Tayo is not here.
No,
Tayo
Tom
is
is here.
Tom is
Tom was
here.
the gaffer.
Tom was the lighting
Yeah.
technician, the gaffer. And these guys,
they really worked as hard as we did.
you know, because I mean, it wasn't easy. We were doing a long days. We didn't
Very
sleep
long.
much, and you know, for us, it's our baby, right? But then you have to give that baby to adoption to everybody and care for it so much. And it's okay to care for something for a day, 2, 3, but if a shooting day is, you know, it's 15 shooting days, that is something you really have to have a good, you know, good group of people around you to kind of trust you and follow further. So it's,
I have questions actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a question. You as director of photography, aren't you? I can imagine it's for you as well very trustful that there is. I mean, I think it's very hard to be an actor and a director at the same time, as I hear the story, and I can imagine. But on the other hand, I think it's very good that you must have a very trustful person as a director. And my question is, did you sometimes direct him? Or was it hard?
Be the director of
No,
photography,
no.
Or was it
director,
completely
director.
in your head, the idea? I mean, you are looking through this lens and see what's going on. Of course, in these very intimate moments from when this person gets his alter ego is another thing. But I can imagine that in some actions that you think, maybe we could do it on this. Is there a dialogue? Was it more, you are the director and you are the one who's working?
So how did you work in that sense? Yeah?
Is there a dialogue a lot, or is it you are?
Well, this was done it was not, I was not there during his process to write the script and so on, so I had to dive in very quickly to it. So there was dialogue, of course, like the scenes that we were improvising, let's do this, let's do that, or just let each other do things, for
Yeah, I mean,
example, just
because
trusting. I was not directing him.
Huh?
I wasn't. He was just. He was prepared for himself.
No, I mean,
I had to
is it a
concentrate on
time-
what I was doing.
But I suppose in terms of framing, like for instance the scene in with the mirror and the gun, in
Yeah.
terms of framing, well, Janusz cannot see. He's not.
Yes.
He's not. He doesn't have
Yes.
a monitor to see himself.
Yeah.
So up to what point do you direct him then for the framing, for instance?
I think he just let me go.
Yeah, you just try to
Yeah, I was
shoot
just.
as much
You
as
notice
possible.
many times that the camera was following the movement at times, and that's not a conventional way of doing things, right? The camera knows before what's supposed to do, but in this film, many times the camera was just following the movement, and that what made it also interesting at times, because then he's acting the mouth, and then to the eyes, and then the gun,
Sure,
and then
yeah.
but the camera was always like a little later or a little before, anticipating his movement after I was getting into his acting, anticipating it at times. So it was.
Yeah, on the other hand, that's still for you, especially for you, also a very creative and evoluting process, because during that play, you know what to choose. You go on the close-up of the mouth, you go to the
Yeah.
close-up of the head, or
Yeah.
the eyes, or
Yeah, thank you.
saliva coming out.
But you
Thank
see,
you.
this is the quality of Altin in general, because he was a ballet dancer, right? So subsequently, his idea of movement and
Yeah.
you know
Rhythm and
he's a lot recording dancers move. Okay, when you are able to showcase a movement of a dancer in a very visually flattering way. Going into the film, it will be easier because there's a lot of things that are set. But the great thing about Altin was that we could, you know, we didn't have to have 15 days of preparation to do something. We would just come into location. I would look at the blocking. Okay, maybe we could go from here. He might have a suggestion. Now, what about if we're going to do it this way or that way? And then we would just go. And you know, subsequently, sometimes it was easier working this way to be a director and an actor and working with the cameraman than have a third or fourth
Yeah.
or fifth
Yeah.
person.
The
Because
lines are
then-
shorter. of
Yeah,
course.
then we would just and then we are just going and we are going and you know he would do some things, and of course there might be comments made which were taken away from, you know, the sound wise. But that was the fun part, that we kind of, and also we know each other we danced together for, you know, I danced for 10 years in Nationale Ballet. So when I joined, Altin already was in the company. So we kind of know each other, you
Yeah,
know.
cool.
And when you work like that as a dancers, it's just a different way of kind of communicating, and that was a cool experience in that sense.
More questions?
Yes, actually, I wanted to ask. The movie is quite gruesome and dramatic. I wanted to ask if it's because of some personal drama you went through.
At the time, not really. I mean, my father passed away in 2003, which might have been some subconscious trauma. I didn't really get that. My mother, when she passed away in 2009, but that was already after the film. The idea was, you see, this film came into sort of an idea of this film was back in 2003. Back then, you did not have films that show, because subsequently, what are we doing with 11? We are trying to disguise a sort of a normal linear story of some conflict with some antagonists, that in the end we are actually showing that it's a film in a subconscious of the main character. Back in 2003, you didn't have many movies that were doing it. That by the end, boom, it's a dream, or boom, it's a vision of something. There was I think in 2006, movie called The Machinist was made with Christian Bale, which had a similar undertone. Roman Polanski made a movie called The Tenant, which was back in the day. And these movies kind of inspired me in a larger sense to kind of do this type of film.
About the alter ego.
About the alter ego, you know. And what I was thinking is, I came, because you were mentioning Freud, everything that happens between us and our parents in our childhood usually will make will have an effect on us as adults. And the way I figure out the main character, I thought, okay, he was abused as a child. Right after the scene with this, we have a sort of a snapshot of childhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we see his father murdering his mother and then shooting himself. So what Michael does in front of the mirror, he's basically repeating what his father was doing, right? And subsequently, the whole idea is based on the fact that he was a soldier. First, as a child, because what he witnessed with his parents, he developed sort of a alternative personality which takes over when he cannot deal with stuff. And then the idea was that he was a soldier and everything was hunky-dory until in Iraq his helicopter was shut down, he was tortured, and during the torture, that second personality came back. And then when he came to Amsterdam, it's his birthday, he wakes up, his girlfriend is not around, and he doesn't remember that actually that part of him got activated. And so by the end of the film, we figure out, okay, this is what it is.
And when you were writing the script, you actually did research into psychology and what happens when people get alter egos, and the transformation and trauma, what that trauma can cause also to create an alter ego to learn how to deal.